Hi guys, welcome back to the Big Sew Along. I'm Ginny, and as always, I thank you very much for choosing to spend some time with me. Before I get into my video today, I just wanted to thank everybody for all of your comments last week. That was really great. I had such a fun time making that video, and I really enjoyed reading all of the comments, so thank you so much for that. This week was not so much fun because I had a few sewing disasters, which I just thought I would share with you guys. I tend to go for a period of time making things and having pretty good success, and then I just hit like a bump in the road, and I make like a disaster after disaster for like 3 or 4 times, and then and then somehow I feel like I kind of get out of it. Not everything was a disaster. Also, Wake Bob asked in last week's video if I would share with her some of my favorite content creators. So if you're interested in that, I'm gonna share that at the end of the video. Okay, so let's start with something that wasn't an unmitigated disaster, which is what I'm wearing today. Not this top. This is the Tropical Research Big T that I made last year or the year before, but I'm wearing it with my Sandra Betzina Vogue 1096 that I talked about last week. I made these pants in a size C. My recommended size was a size D, but I looked at the final measurements and decided that the size C would be more what I wanted. I did shorten these, and I can't remember how much. The pattern itself was not a problem. The problem with these pants is that I made them in this viscose twill, and this stuff was an absolute nightmare. It frayed like crazy, it wobbled like crazy, it slipped like crazy, like everything about it was crazy. My sewing machine didn't even like stitching in it. It kept skipping stitches, and I tried different needles and different thread. It was just like, just sewing this fabric was a disaster. The pattern itself, I happen to love. I love the fit of these pants. My finishing on this is not great because I was lucky to finish them at all, much less have like top stitching that wasn't wobbly. I did a couple of things wrong. These pants have like a side panel that ruches up. On the side's got like a little casing that a drawstring goes through. That casing is actually supposed to be on the outside of the pants, and it's supposed to be the other direction, so the drawstring is at that top of the casing. I, of course, did not read the directions, so I missed that. My casing is on the inside with the opening at the bottom. I will know for next time. The other thing I will change next time is these, for some reason, right a little bit high in the front. This happens to me on pants sometimes, and I suspect it's because of my sway back. I'm not really sure, but anyways, I think I can fix it by just taking these down maybe like a 1/2 or 3/4 of an inch at the center front and tapering it out to nothing at the sides, and I think they will be fine. This pant does not have a side seam, and Sandra Betzina has a really cool like window pocket she puts in there, and I really love the method she used for making that window pocket, so I will use that on other things in the future. So not a total disaster, just not 100% success. So the next one is this Sewing Workshop Trio Tee. This is a pattern I've had for a long time. It's an older Sewing Workshop pattern that has now been reissued as like a downloadable pattern. I made this in a size medium, and I made this in a cotton spandex. And I made it to wear with these pants. These pants are the, what are they called? They're also the Sewing Workshop, they're the panel pants. She does recommend making the panel pants in like a lightweight, like Georgette or something with a lining. I didn't do that. I used this silk dupioni that Kathy gifted me like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, a long time ago, and I've been hanging on to it. But I really love these pants. I really love these pants, and I'm pretty sure, you guys, that I made these in a medium. The only thing I don't like about these pants is because I did them in this solid color, you can't really see all of the panels, but they do have a super cool shape, and I'm pretty happy with like the fit and everything on these pants. They're a little bit heavy, so probably we're wearing these more in the fall. I will not be wearing them with this t-shirt. This t-shirt is a raglan style t-shirt. It has a pretty high neck and a sort of semi-fitted body. I think, because this is a reissue, I suspect that this raglan is supposed to be sort of like an 80s oversized raglan, like a batwing almost kind of look to it. It's got a pretty curved shoulder. The sleeve is made in two pieces, a front and a back, with a seam down the center, so it gives a nice curved shoulder. However, I have pretty straight shoulders, and that curve is a little, not terrible, but it's a little too much for my shoulders, so I get a lot of wrinkling at the edge of the neckline, between the neck and the shoulder. I also, this neckline is, I probably could just make the neckline a little bit bigger. I don't like that it looks like I have like puckers and stuff around the neck of my binding, which I actually don't. It's just that neckline is so small, it really pulls it in a lot. So I'm not fond of that. Additionally, I shortened this top 4 inches, and because I'm lazy, I cut 4 inches right off the bottom, which means that I cut it off so that the narrowest part of the shirt is actually at the widest part of my body. Not the best idea. I should have, like you normally do, removed the length from the middle so that the bottom, which is a little bit wider, rises up and sits at the widest part of my tummy. So, lesson learned there. I won't be doing that again. I honestly don't know if I'll even make this pattern again, because even though I do think it's cool, I don't like this excess fabric like around the underarms. Like sometimes that doesn't bother me, but in this particular shirt, I feel like those drag lines around the bust and neck are just too weird. I just don't, I don't like that. And I have another raglan t-shirt that I can use, so which it works fine for me. So I will probably just use the other raglan t-shirt. Okay, disaster number 3 would be this pattern here. This is Marcy Tilton for Vogue, and it is Vogue 1733. This is a pattern that I've had for a long time, and as you guys who watch me know, I've been digging through my old patterns. I made this once before in the long sleeve regular length version. This time I decided I wanted to make it in the sleeveless, like more tunic asymmetric version. I cut this in a medium, and I used like a viscose, oh no, it's a rayon spandex knit on this one. It's a little bit beefy for a rayon, so it's not super slinky. Anyways, I got this cut out, and I was pretty happy with it. Before I put the bindings on the arm and the neck, I tried it on, and I was like, the armholes seem a little big, but forge ahead. So forge ahead I did. I put the neck binding on, and then as I was putting the armhole bindings on, I realized that they're really big. They're stretching out the armhole, which was already kind of big. And I was like, that's really weird. So I went back to my pattern, and I double checked, and I made sure that I cut the right piece in the right size. And I did, in fact, cut the right piece in the right size. So I went back to my sewing machine and said, you know what, Jenny? Maybe some magic will happen when it's all put together, and it'll be awesome. But it's not, because there's no magic that happens that shrinks down an armhole to the normal size. It's just a disaster. So next time I make this, and I will make this again. I actually really love this top, and I will make it again. I will just make the armhole a tad bit smaller when I cut it out, and then I will shorten I'll just measure the armhole and determine the length that I need for the armhole binding. I also think that this neck binding, it's pretty good, but I think I could lose a ½ an inch on the neck binding also, and then it would lay a little bit flatter. Now I could fix this top, and maybe I will, but of course, because I'm an idiot, I put these bindings on with my 4-thread serger, and I basted them on in the first place, so maybe that should have been a clue. I could have just checked after I basted, but no, I didn't. I went ahead and sewed them on. So yeah, I used the 4-thread serger, and I also used woolly nylon. So anybody who's ever pulled that out knows what a absolute nightmare it is. And so for now, this is going in the recycling bin. However, Charlotte sent me a piece of fabric a couple of weeks ago. And it looks like this. Can you guys see that? These panels with the flowers in them are actually like three-dimensional flowers. And it's sheer in that part. And then the blue part is more opaque. This is a really nice, it feels like a rayon jersey probably. I don't have a ton of this, but I think I have enough to get that top out of it. And I might just use like some leftover black rayon spandex for the neck binding and the armhole bindings. So yeah, those are my disasters. I forgot, I did have one other success. I did make my husband another, I can't remember the name of the pattern, the waistcoat from Thread Theory. I'll show you a picture of a minute here. This one though, I made from an old suit. My husband lost about 50 pounds like 2 years ago. And he had a bunch of work suits that he couldn't wear anymore. Some of them we just donated, but he really loved the fabric from this one. So I picked it apart and I managed to eke out enough usable fabric to make this waistcoat, which I really kind of like. So that was a pretty good success. So that is it for my sewing this week. I am going to make these Sandra Betzina pants again, and I am definitely going to see if I can't get this Marcy Tilton top done sometime in the near future. So that's all the sewing I have. Like I said at the beginning of the video, Wake Bob asked last week in the comments, she asked if I could share with her some of the content creators that I really like. So I thought I would share them with the rest of you too. These are all YouTubers. I'm not on TikTok, and I don't, I am on Instagram, but mostly just for friends and family. I don't do a lot over there. I mean, sometimes I do, but yeah, it's just not really my thing. So all these content creators are other YouTubers. Now, at the risk of disappointing you all, I don't actually watch a lot of sewing channels, because when I started my channel 5 years ago, that's all I watched was sewing channels, and I loved them all. Like they were all inspiring to me, and I really loved watching them. But once I started my channel, I felt like when I watched other sewing YouTubers, it would start to influence the decisions I made about what I wanted to make in my own videos, and then it started to feel less organic and original to myself. So I don't watch a lot of sewing channels. That said, I always watch Catherine from So Much Sewing, because Catherine and I are of a similar age and we have a very similar style, and I consider Catherine a friend. We've done a collaboration before, and I kind of feel like she's my internet pal. So I always watch Catherine from So Much Sewing. The other Catherine I often watch is Catherine Sews. One of you guys turned me on to Catherine Sews not that long ago, when we were talking about upcycling. I watched Catherine Sews because she does do a lot of upcycling, and she has a lot of creative, great ideas for upcycling, which is just something I'm not as good at. I also watched Kate from the Fold line. I consider Kate my trend person. Any trends that are out there that I need to know about, I will hear about from Kate, and she has a lot of other stuff on there, and I just really enjoy watching her. I like listening to her. So I almost always watch the Fold line. And then, and Linda Lee from the Sewing Workshop does a live video every week. I don't always tune in for that, but I do tune in pretty frequently, just depending on what our topic is. Again, I just get a lot of really good ideas for using different fabrics, especially for various kinds of patterns. I love, Linda just has like a ton of experience and lots of really good suggestions and stuff, so I almost always watch that too. That is really it for the sewing. I also watch a lot of crocheting and knitting videos, but mostly just project based, like if I need to figure something out. I'm currently working on this crochet sweater. This is done in interlocking crochet, which is something I've never done before, so I definitely needed a lot of help with that. But that kind of stuff I will always watch on YouTube as well. The other thing is, I don't do a lot of beauty kind of channels, but I do watch French for a Day. This gal has like a really clean, minimal aesthetic. She talks mostly about luxury makeup, which is not my thing, but I do like listening to her, and I like getting her ideas for freshening up looks or doing things a little bit differently. I also just like, I'm sure this is not what she's going for, but she has a very soothing voice, and sometimes I'll just listen to her for a few minutes before I go to bed. It puts me to sleep. Again, I'm sure that's not what she's going for, but I do really like watching her channel. And also I watch Paulina Porizkova TV. I'm a Paulina fan from way, way, way back in the 80s, and I really just love her. I also think she has some really like lovely ideas. So I watch her and French for a Day, and that's it for my makeup and beauty. I don't watch a lot of style videos anymore. I got really tired of style videos that suggested ways I can look younger, taller, and thinner. I'm not interested in being younger, taller, or thinner. I'm not interested in looking like that. I'll be 61 next month. I'm 5 feet 3 inches tall, and I weigh 138 pounds, and I am fine with all of that. So I really don't appreciate people suggesting ways I can change that visually, or like trick the eye. First of all, I don't think those things really work. I'm never gonna look like I'm 5'6". It's just not gonna happen, and I don't care. However, that said, I do watch this gal, this younger gal. She's not super young. She's probably in her 40s. Her name is Emily Wheatley. Emily Wheatley. She has a very cool, clean, funky aesthetic, and I do get some really good ideas from her on how to change up styling a little bit. That is really it. I do, whenever Sarah Millican, the comedian Sarah Millican, posts a video on YouTube, I always watch it. I love Sarah Millican. I think she's probably the funniest person on the planet. So if you like comedy, you'll want to check her out too. She can be a little raunchy, but I find her incredibly funny. Alright guys, I'm going to call that a day today. Thank you so much for being here, and until next time, I wish you all happy sewing.